Now proceed to doneness. Doneness depends on whether the cooking method uses dry heat or moist heat. In dry heat, meat is done when the proteins have reached the desired degree of coagulation. Moist heat meat is done when connective tissues have broken down enough for the meat to be palatable. With a few exceptions, meat cooked by moist heat is always well done. In dry heat cooking, we have two things to remember. The degree of doneness. As meat cooks, its pigments change color. These color changes indicate degrees of doneness. For red meat, beef and lamb changes from red to pink to gray or gray-brown. For rare, brown surface, thin layer of cooked gray meat, red interior. For medium, thicker layer of gray and pink interior. For well done, gray throughout. White meat, veal and pork changes from pink or gray-pink to white or off-white. Another is testing doneness. Determining doneness is one of the most difficult and critical aspects of meat cooking. Color change cannot be used by the cook to test doneness because it would be necessary to cut the meat. Just by piercing and examining the juice is not a reliable method. Here are other methods in determining doneness. One is internal temperature. Testing the interior of meat with a meat thermometer is the most accurate method of testing doneness. Another is touch. Pressing it lightly with the finger indicates its doneness. And the time-weight ratio. Many charts give roasting times per pound of meat, however not in determining doneness. In moist heat cooking, meat cooked by moist heat is cooked well done and actually beyond well done. Doneness is indicated by tenderness, not by temperature. Piercing is the usual test for doneness. Low temperatures, no higher than simmering, are essential to avoid toughening protein in moist cooked meat. Our next topic is cooking variety meats, also known as offal. Include various organs, glands, and other meats that don't form a part of the dressed carcass of the animal. The most popular variety meats divide into two groups for cooking purposes. It includes liver, heart, kidneys, tongue, sweetbreads, tripe, brain, and oxtail. Calf's liver is the most prized because it is tender and delicate in flavor, recognized by its pale pinkish color. Most beef liver is darker, stronger in flavor, and tougher. It is pan-fried or broiled and frequently braised. Veal and lamb kidneys are the most popular, especially in the more upscale restaurants, usually prepared by sautéing and broiling. Beef kidneys are tougher and strongly flavored, cooked by braising and served in specialty items. Sweetbreads are the thymus glands of calves and young beef animals, mild in flavor and delicate in texture. Considered delicacy and are often expensive, usually braised or breaded and sautéed in butter. Brains are not a popular item, but they are delicate in both flavor and texture, fragile and very perishable. It should be cooked as soon as possible. Serve hot with black butter or cooled, then dip in butter, deep fried, and serve with tomato. Heart, usually from veal or beef, is very tough and meat. It can be braised or simmered, or ground and added to chopped meat for casserole dishes and meatloaf. Cooked beef tongue is popular as a cold, sliced meat for sandwiches. It may be fresh, cured, or smoked. Veal and lamb tongues are also available, always cooked by simmering. Oxtails contain flavorful meat and a rich gelatin content, making them highly desirable for soups and stews. Tripe is the muscular stomach lining of meat animals. Beef tripe is most widely used. There are 4 kinds of beef tripe. It requires several hours to cook by simmering to tender. The following are other variety of meat. Intestines. The most common use for intestines is to make sausage casings. They are blanched or simmered, then braised or fried. Pig's collis is a fatty membrane covering the animal's stomach. Main uses are to line terrines and to wrap horse meat. Last is the feet. These are exceptionally rich in gelatin. For this reason, they are added to soups, stews, and stocks to add richness and body. Let's move to our next topic, game and specialty meat. The term game is used to refer to poultry and meat animals normally found in the wild. Deer meat is typically called venison. An important advantage of farm-raised venison besides its year-round availability, is that the cook can be assured that it is from young, tender animals. The first thing to be said about farm-raised venison is that it is milder in flavor than venison hunted in the wild. Venison, like other game, is very low in fat. Boar is a type of wild pig. Its meat is somewhat similar to pork, except that it is leaner and its flavor fuller and richer. Boar is somewhat more difficult to cook than venison and other game because, like pork, it must be cooked until well done. We have also other large game. Various other meats are sometimes found in food service kitchens like elk, caribou, moose, and antelope are similar to venison and are handled in much the same way. We have also the rabbit. Domestic rabbit is a versatile meat that can be cooked in most of the same ways as chicken. Rabbit's like delicate meat is often compared to chicken, but it is somewhat flavorful than chicken with mild and distinctive taste that is not exactly like other poultry. We have also the hare. It is the wild cousin of the rabbit. Please note that rabbits and hares are different animals. Unlike domestic rabbit, with its light-colored, delicate meat, hare has flesh that is dark reddish-brown and gamey.
We are going to the topic storage of meats. Quality of the finished product depends not only on proper selection and cooking of meats, but on proper storage. For fresh meats, for number 1, check purchases on arrival to ensure that purchased meat is of good quality. Number 2, do not wrap tightly. Bacteria and mold thrive in moist, stagnant places. Air circulation inhibits their growth. Store loosely arranged on pans or racks to allow air circulation between pieces, but cover cut surfaces to prevent excessive drying. For number 3, do not often vacuum pack meats until ready to use. Store at 32 degrees to 36 degrees Fahrenheit. Meat does not freeze until about 20 degrees Fahrenheit. Keep meats separated in cooler and on work table to avoid cross-contamination. For number 6, use as soon as possible. Fresh meats keep well for only 2 to 4 days. Ground meats keep even less well because so much surface area is exposed to bacteria. Cured and smoked products may keep up to 1 week. Frequent deliveries are better than long storage. For number 7, do not dry to rescue meats that are going bad by freezing them. Freezing will not improve the quality of a spoiling meat. For number 8, keep coolers clean. For frozen meats, number 1, wrap frozen meats well to prevent freezer burn. Number 2, store at 0 degrees Fahrenheit or colder. Rotate, stack, first in, first out. Tempering in the refrigerator is best. Defrosting at room temperature encourages bacterial growth. Refreezing increases loss of quality. Keep freezers clean. The cooking meat and meat games. Roasting and baking. To cook foods by surrounding them with not hot, dry air, usually in an oven. Roasting is a dry heat method. No water is used and the meat is not covered so steam can escape. There is no real distinction between the terms roast and bake. Both terms are used for the same procedure, but the word bake is more likely to be used for small cuts of meat, vegetables, fish, breads, and pastries. Commercial smoker ovens roast meats in the same way as conventional ovens, except they also have a smoke generating unit that passes smoke through the oven chamber, flavoring foods as they cook. The flavor of wood smoke in cooked meats is so popular. Convection oven is used for roasting. The temperature should be reduced about 50 degrees Fahrenheit. or 25 degrees Celsius. Many chefs prefer not to use convection ovens for large roast because the drying effect of the forced air seems to cause greater shrinkage. Next one is we have broiling, grilling, and pan broiling. Broiling and grilling are dry heat cooking methods which use very high heat to cook meat quickly by exposing food to direct radiant heat, either on a grill, over live coals, or below a gas burner or electric coil. Properly broiled meats have a well-browned, flavorful crust on the outside, and the inside is cooked to the desired doneness and is still juicy. It may be helpful to think of broiling and grilling as browning techniques rather than cooking techniques. This is because of the best, juiciest broiled meats are those cooked to the rare or medium done stage. Pork and veal, which are usually eaten well done, are generally better grilled, sauteed, or braised than broiled or grilled. For temperature control, the object of broiling is not just to cook the meat to the desired doneness, but also to form a brown. Next one is sauteing, pan frying, and griddling. Sauteing uses high heat and a small amount of fat and usually used for small pieces of food. Pan frying uses moderate heat, a moderate amount of fat, and is usually employed for larger items, such as chops. It is impossible to draw an exact dividing line between sauteing and pan frying. In sauteing, the food items are usually tossed by flipping the pan, while in stir frying, calls for filling skillet to a certain depth with oil heated to a specific temperature. The pan is left stationary and the foods are tossed with spatulas or other tools. Last one is we have simmering or stewing. Meats are not often simmered. Part of the reason simmered meats are not as popular as meats cooked in other ways may be that they lack the kind of flavor produced by browning with dry heat. Simmering is used effectively for less tender cuts for which browning is not desired or not appropriate. The term stewing means cooking small pieces of meat by simmering or braising. For simmered meats, the kind of meat to be cooked determines the kind and amount of cooking liquid to use as well as the flavorings and seasonings to use. For braising, braising is a combination of dry heat and moist heat cooking methods. Meats are first browned or seared in fat or in a hot oven, then simmered in a flavorful liquid until tender. The popularity of properly braised items is due to the flavor imparted by the browning and by the sauce made from the braising liquid. Clearly, the quality of a braised meat depends greatly on the quality of the stock the meat is cooked in. The popular types of braised meats dishes are large cuts. Large cuts of meat braised whole, sliced, and served with a sauce or gravy are sometimes called pot roast. While individual portion cuts, meats may be cut into portion sizes before braising instead of or afterward. Stews are made of meats cut into small pieces or cubes. Most stews are made by braising, but some are cooked by simmering only, without first browning or searing the meat. Stews are usually made with enough liquid or gravy to cover the meat completely while cooking.